Shocking details are coming to light about the troubling connection between Demi Moore and Diddy's son. Both have a past filled with abuse from their own families, and later they became involved in disturbing situations themselves.
You got Ashton Kutcher in love with Mila Kunis on that 70s show. Then they break up for absolutely no reason after he starts hanging out with Diddy. Then he marries Demi Moore, who drained him of all the adrenochrome she can, and apparently he replenished himself by doing inappropriate things with her daughters. I'm glad. I'm sure you're glad, like Bruce Willis has dementia right.
Demi Moore is a well-known Hollywood star, but her childhood was far from glamorous. Just 15, her own mother allegedly sold her to a stranger for $500. In a recent interview, Demi revealed how her mother used to take her to bars, letting men pay to exploit her. She recalled being sexually assaulted and later finding out that her mother not only knew about it but allowed it to happen. Being betrayed by a parent, the very person meant to protect you, is beyond heartbreaking.
Demi Moore, she revealed in her memoir that she was sexually assaulted at the age of 15, writing that her mother let the abuse in their home. Well, today, Demi talked to Howard Stern more about this on his Sirius XM radio show.
But you say you pushed it away. You don't. You just
I
recently.
pushed it away because I felt like it was my fault, like that I felt like I had behaved in a way that was
provocative
and mature, like I really knew a lot. And I never really looked at myself as being a kid. And so I never looked at it as right. I mean, I saw it as an unfortunate and,
Yet he forced you into it.
I was very embarrassed by it. In all honesty, I think that the shame I carried because of the rape made me afraid to feel I could comfortably express myself sexually.
It makes me just remember the conversation that I had with her where she talked about the purpose of her writing this book was to share her story in hopes that it would empower other young women. She did talk about a lot of other things to Howard Stern. She said she auditioned for Top Gun, obviously didn't get the part, but would later work with Tom Cruise as a co-star in A Few Good Men.
As an anxious teen, she is taken by her mother to bars so that men will notice them. She's 15 when she comes home one night and an older man they know is in the apartment with the key. She writes, it was rape and a devastating betrayal, revealed by the man's cruel question, how does it feel to be whored by your mother for $500?
Do you believe she sold you?
I think in my deep heart, no. I don't think it was a straightforward transaction, but she still did give him the access and put me in harm's way.
Sadly, this kind of exploitation is all too common in the entertainment industry. Parents blinded by money turn a blind eye to what happens to their children. Usher, Justin Bieber, Demi Moore, and even Diddy's stepson reportedly suffered this fate. Some parents didn't just ignore the abuse, they allegedly enabled it. Reports even suggest that Diddy himself played a role in grooming his stepson.
Dang, freaky man. I look at his kids and everything. It's more deeper questions that I be wanting to know. Like, why were you so infatuated with a child that wasn't yours? Were you grooming that little boy? I don't even want to start those conversations because that's not your child. You know what I'm saying? And for you to keep him that close, it's like you kept him that close because he might got your secrets because he's not your child. So if he's not your child and you that type of person with that type of character, you don't mind actually doing it to him when he finally reaches a certain age because he's not yours. And you know in your mind he's not yours. And now you keep him real close to you. You make sure he don't go to his daddy. Why? You make sure he's separated with him and you provide him with everything he wants. Why? You got one of them little Michael Jackson secrets. He got one of them secrets that he can't tell nobody because his legacy, his manhood gonna be, and not only that, his brother no gonna look at him crazy. Only Puffy know, only God and Puffy.
You're talking about Quincy, right?
I don't know. All I'm gonna say is, I don't know.
I'll be short, son.
All I'm gonna say is, who's infatuated with another man's son like that? Like you guess that seemed like groom.
Even more disturbing is the cycle of abuse that followed. Many who were victimized went on to harm others, including Demi Moore and Diddy's son. A resurfaced video shows Demi Moore kissing her former General Hospital co-star Philip Tanzini when he was just 14 years old. The video has sparked outrage, with many calling it a clear case of inappropriate behavior.
Okay, one more time.
Why do you think everybody's come out today?
I don't know. Maybe just because I love them all and I hope they all love me.
We do love him.
And I love them.
If you think it's for the publicity, you're out of your mind.
Absolutely, because he's one of my most favorite people.
How long have you been working on the show?
Almost a month and a half.
What's your role?
I'm Lucy Love.
And I'm Philip Tanzini and I play Jeremy and you're stealing my part. I'm sorry.
We're moving on to interview number 2 here.
Oh, okay.
Because I love Philip and he's the only one I love.
Do your interview already.
All right. I'm Lucy Love but personally I love Philip. And that's it. Okay?
We got our new storyline cooking up pretty soon. Here, have a bite.
I want to say happy birthday to Philip because I love him dearly. He's one of my most favorite people.
How long have you been out there?
For about 3 weeks. And he's been terrific.
Diddy's son has also faced allegations of abuse. According to a lawsuit filed by Lil Rod, Justin Combs regularly attended Diddy's notorious freak-off parties, where he was responsible for bringing underage girls. Leaked photos allegedly show Justin at these parties, and sources claim that many of the minors in attendance were there because of his connections.
There are also allegations that Diddy forced these victims to have sex with prostitutes as he touched himself. He called these situations freak-offs, and oftentimes he recorded them. Here's where some of the allegations against his son Justin Combs come in. So all this takes us back to February, when Rodney Jones, also known as the producer Lil Rod, filed civil suit against Diddy. In his lengthy lawsuit, Lil Rod straight name drops Justin Combs, describing him as someone who solicits prostitutes, underage girls, and sex workers. There's actually a picture of Justin Combs with an allegedly underage girl shown in the lawsuit. Now, in this specific instance, Lil Rod alleges at least one underage girl came to Diddy's home for a listening party. A sex worker was also apparently solicited and a freak-off ensued. As an aside, this is the same night that Lil Rod alleges Diddy forced him to take a laced shot. He started to feel lightheaded and then woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning, naked next to a sex worker. It's important to note Justin Combs is listed as a defendant on this case because, according to Lil Rod, he facilitated Diddy's alleged RICO enterprise and at times participated. Civil suit points to more accusations against Justin Combs too, for his involvement in an alleged shooting cover-up. According to court documents, it happened on September 12, 2022, outside Diddy's Chalice Studios. Lil Rod says Diddy, his son Justin, and Justin's friend who went by G were all there when things got heated. Lil Rod says he heard multiple gunshots ring out and later found G on the bathroom floor in the fetal position. Lil Rod says he was bleeding out of his hip and leg area. Lil Rod says he was applying pressure to G's wounds and then asked the crowd to call an ambulance. At that point, both Diddy and Justin Combs disappeared to another part of the studio. Diddy then gave strict instructions to inform the police that he had nothing to do with the shooting. He also forced Mr. Jones to lie to the police by telling them that G was shot standing outside the studio by a drive-by assailant. So that specific allegation involves Diddy's son Justin, but another allegation and entirely separate civil lawsuit involves his other son Christian, or King Combs. Grace Omar K alleges that Christian Combs sexually assaulted her on a yacht in December 2022, and she says it was facilitated by...
But Justin Combs isn't the only one facing accusations. His brother Christian King Combs has also been named in a separate lawsuit. A 26-year-old stewardess, Grace O'Marquet, recently filed a complaint, claiming that Christian groped and sexually harassed her after drugging her with laced drinks at one of Diddy's yacht parties. The lawsuit also states that Diddy was present at the event and had hired Grace to work as a stewardess.
And she was 25 years old at the time. She believed that the trip would be a, quote, wholesome family excursion, but says it, quote, turned into a hedonistic environment, even describing rampant drug use among sex workers and celebrities who came on board. She believes that the alcohol on the yacht had been laced with drugs because she says women would have one drink and then almost immediately pass out or start falling over. This is, by the way, something that it was also alleged in Jones's lawsuit, that Combs would spike the drinks of different people. But focusing on Christian Combs, O'Marquet says that Christian Combs had been staying at a villa on the shore, but that he would come onto the yacht in the evening to party. And on December 28, 2022, Christian reportedly arrived very intoxicated and then proceeded to pressure O'Marquet to take shots of tequila. She did. Christian allegedly tried to get her to drink more in the yacht's makeshift studio. O'Marquet alleges that Christian kissed her neck, kissed her face, as he groped her legs, breasts, and private areas.
The cycle of abuse seems to have continued for generations. Recently, Diddy's sons took legal action against Courtney Burgess, a former friend of Kim Porter, in an attempt to block the release of Kim's final memoir. The book reportedly contains explosive revelations about Diddy and his alleged involvement in a larger operation. True, this memoir could bring down his empire, but shockingly, his own children are trying to keep it from being published.
Here is the other thing with Mr. Burgess. He apparently says he owns the rights to a book that was reportedly based on the alleged memoir of Kim Porter. In fact, according to TMZ, Burgess' phone was seized by the feds, and on it was a copy of a flash drive with material that was used in this book. Here's the problem. Christian and Quincy Combs, these are the sons of Diddy and Kim Porter. Quincy's actually adopted by Diddy. But they are reportedly fighting back, and they have sent Burgess a cease and desist letter to prevent the further sale of this book. They argue this is just an attempt to capitalize on Porter's fame and that they own the rights to her IP, her intellectual property, like her diary entries, her potential manuscript. As her heirs, they own it. And they also want an accounting of current sales of the book. To be clear, though, they aren't acknowledging that there is, in fact, a long-lost memoir from their mother. In fact, they've actually denied that before when there was a similar book, a derivative work, we'll talk about that, published by this guy named Chris Todd on Amazon. They were adamantly fighting against that. They said that their mother wouldn't write this. But what they're basically saying is if something should exist, they own it. Burgess has responded, saying he owns the copyright in the book.
Diddy's legal troubles have driven a wedge between him and his family. During his latest bail hearing, nearly all of his relatives refused to show up in support. The only ones present were his two sons, who are also facing legal issues alongside him.
We're waiting to get this hearing started. It was interesting, too, because this time around, Diddy was brought in first. He was brought in about a couple minutes after 2 p.m. today, and we were all kind of waiting to see. We had heard mumblings that his mom might be in courtroom, that we were waiting for the children, but then nothing happened. But then, in another twist and turn, the children do walk in, but this time it was a lot smaller bunch than it was the last time. So last time you're having all of Diddy's children, except with the exception of Love, who is just a 2-year-old child, so she wasn't at court. But you had all of Diddy's children there except Love. But this time around, you just had Justin Combs and Christian Combs, meaning that there was no Quincy there today. Delilah and Jesse weren't there. Chance wasn't there, and the caretakers of his younger children who aren't of age just yet, they were not present inside the courtroom as well today. But his mom also wasn't in court today. So when Diddy came inside, it was still that standard issued MDC jumpsuit. He's wearing khaki. From that video of, I think that was obtained by Daily Mail back in September, of Diddy playing hacky sack in Central Park, to now he appeared just astonishingly thinner, which you can expect to be inside a federal detention center for a couple months now. A lot different from the luxury lifestyle that he was living before, but he appeared very noticeably thinner, and maybe being locked up in detention is starting to wear on him. He appeared grayer a little bit as well too, but again, he appeared just like how you would expect Diddy to appear for
There are even whispers that Diddy and his sons are working together to cover up evidence. A leaked phone call reportedly captures Diddy instructing his son, Justin, to destroy crucial evidence. Diddy also mentioned that he had a plan to get out, and just weeks after that call, he managed to secure his release, allegedly by faking a medical emergency.
Diddy's prison phone call just leaked and it was posted by Social Details. This is allegedly a call that he had, and there's a lot of talk, a lot of code words in there, so we're gonna listen to it together. Check it out.
Do not entertain none of this nonsense and nothing over the phone. I'm gonna need you to get rid of all the leftover pizza boxes. The what? All the boxes leftover.
Now, this alleged leaked call from Diddy in prison was talking about getting rid of pizza boxes. Now, if you know your stuff and you're privy, you know exactly what pizza stands for, and that's probably what they're talking about and referring to on this alleged leaked call. Pizza, for those who don't know, I'm gonna make it very clean. It has to do with children and selling.
Make sure you recycle the plastic like you talked about.
Now, in this alleged phone call, he starts talking about someone named Jay. People are speculating that maybe Jay-Z, but there's no confirmation. At the same time, he talks about recycling plastic. I don't know what that could mean. If you guys have any idea, comment and let me know.
Everybody out there quiet as motherfucker. Yeah, exactly. We gonna let them have their little fun, but I'm still gonna have the last laugh.
I mean, it seems by the call that he's looking for help. He's saying that a lot of people are quiet, I guess people that are on his side, and that he's gonna have the last laugh at the end.
Authorities believe Diddy is using emotional tactics to manipulate the public. Prosecutors claim that after his release, Diddy staged a fake reunion with his family to gain sympathy. They also allege that his sons were behind a social media campaign designed to influence potential jurors.
Jury pool.
The latest on Sean Diddy Combs. Prosecutors are accusing Combs of trying to contact prospective witnesses and obstruct the case against him. Our senior investigative correspondent, Aaron Katursky, is here with more on that. Good morning to you, Aaron.
Good morning, Robin. Sean Combs going to be asking a judge this week to release him on bail, but prosecutors now say the argument for detention has only gotten stronger. This morning, federal prosecutors are accusing Sean Diddy Combs of escalating his attempts to influence the jury pool and subvert his criminal case. Almost immediately after arriving at the federal jail in Brooklyn, prosecutors say Combs started using telephone accounts of at least 8 other inmates to call people not on his approved contact list.
And nobody.
Prosecutors allege Combs frequently instructs family members and his attorneys to add other individuals via three-way call, which is not allowed. On some of those calls, prosecutors say Combs is explicit about his intention to use public statements to sway potential jurors, including this Instagram post by Diddy's kids.
Happy birthday to Daddy.
Prosecutors say Combs enlisted family members to plan and execute a social media campaign around the defendant's birthday, the first time we heard his voice from behind bars.
Oh, thank y'all for being strong and thank y'all for being by my side and supporting me. I love y'all. I got the best family in the world.
Prosecutors say Combs then monitored audience engagement from the video.
Diddy seems desperate to regain his freedom, so much so that he's even willing to use his children as leverage. In his latest bail proposal, his legal team suggested handing over his children's passports as part of the deal. But what do his kids have to do with this case? And would Diddy really risk their freedom just to save himself? He also offered up his $48 million mansion as collateral.
A $50 million bond, co-signed by him, his mom, and his sister, the mother of his oldest daughter, and his 3 adult sons. It's going to be secured by the equity in his property in Miami, Florida. Home detention, his passport will be surrendered. The government said that's insufficient. They said, look at the charges, look at the weight of the evidence that I just mentioned. They said they have allegations that he and his associates were trying to tamper with witness testimony last year so that they wouldn't cooperate with the government. What do you take away about who has the stronger argument in terms of bail?
Well, I think his counsel has done the best they possibly can. I think bringing him there voluntarily is very smart, starts them out on the right foot. But I think the last thing that you just mentioned, the interfering with witnesses.
That's the allegation, yeah.
Yeah, if that's true, or I should say, if there's real indicia that happened, I think that might tip the scales in favor of not letting him out pending trial, because I think, and you know this, I think judges take an extraordinarily dim view of that, and that might be the factor that tips the scale against him. But I think as far as a tactic, I think it was very smart.
Why is that not a fair outcome?
What he did here is on a magnitude of unlike anybody else you could imagine. A week after those public searches were televised, he gave us his passport. His children gave us his passport. He then paid off the mortgage entirely on his Miami home, $18 million. It's instructive that he's going to have a bail package ready so that if he was arrested, he would have something ready so that he could get out the next day and show the judge he's taking this very seriously, which he is, which is why 12 days ago, Chris, when we thought there's an indictment that may be coming, he flew to New York the very next day. And that's an extraordinary move for a defendant who's been under investigation that he's been aware of for at least 6 months. He has done everything somebody under investigation can do. I can't think of anything else that he could have done. He's fighting, he's innocent, and he's gonna be able to show it.
Even family isn't off limits for Diddy. Disturbing reports suggest that he had an unusual fascination with his own mother. Allegedly, he often told friends how attractive she was and even kissed her on the lips. A resurfaced clip from 2022 shows him smoking a joint with his mother while joking about putting her in a strip club.
Yeah, my mom's gorgeous. Hold on, let me introduce you to my mom. We call Mom Dukes.
Hi.
She's getting a drip with me. She's hydrating. What's up, Mom?
Everything's good, baby. I'm here with you.
Yeah.
I love you.
I love you too. Mom, freshly dipped though.
What? What you trying to do? Show my shoes?
I was trying to show you the shoes. Yeah, my mom's is single. Mom's is single. I ain't gonna hate on my mom's. She's single. Me and my mom talked about one time doing a dating show with her. And she's so picky. She's so picky, they don't stand. But yeah, that'd be the funniest show in the world.
It will be, especially with me.
I don't even want to get started if she was doing that. We're not doing that, cause yeah, my mom's single. Yeah, for real. Mom Duke know how to have a good time. Cause they ain't sitting in the house playing. They outside moving and shaking, baby.
Got that right.
She come with me to strip club. I don't care. Real. It's my dog, you know, I want to live life. Be out here moving and grooving. So my mom told me, she just said, keep moving, baby.
That's right.
Keep moving. She
don't stop.
She could touch the floor with her palms, you know? Flat. Oh! Take pew, pew, pew.
The signs have always been there, but few paid attention. The only person who saw through Diddy's image was 50 Cent. Now, he's preparing to expose everything in his upcoming documentary, Diddy Did It. He claims to have spent the last 2 to 3 decades gathering evidence, and he's ready to reveal it all.
Speaking of, in particular, Netflix docuseries that you've been working on, Diddy Do It.
Right.
You've been saying for years that you feel you knew Diddy's character.
Right.
Yet you've said you weren't a part of that lifestyle, you weren't going to the parties. So what makes you so absolutely sure that these kinds of allegations that we've seen against him are true?
Well, I'm surprised by the allegations, as surprised as everyone else is. Like, I didn't make the allegations. I didn't tell people to say these things. It comes out, I see it in the news like everyone else. But I did feel uncomfortable with the way he would present the idea of going to these projects.
To come party with me.
Yeah. And then that swayed me away from it. Just that alone.
So you didn't realize
as much stuff was coming. Like, when I seen today, it was allegations of 3 men that said he drugged them, and it's a long time, to be honest with you. Like, when people don't remember being violated for 20 years, it makes me feel a little hard.
What are your thoughts on the allegations against Jay-Z?
That was interesting. When I was saying things, not knowing exactly what I was saying, but I was going with, like, where's Jay at? He's mad quiet. Like while the Puffy thing was going on. But it's obvious now that his team was being made aware that he was in those allegations also. So I hope it works out, because with his family, the things that go on internally is that those accusations are crazy.
Diddy's legal team is scrambling to suppress key evidence. They filed a motion to dismiss materials found at his Miami mansion, arguing that they were obtained illegally. Among the items in FBI custody are so-called freak-off tapes and other disturbing evidence that could be damning for Diddy.
Sean Diddy Combs looking to suppress evidence in his federal trial. Senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katursky is back with the story. Good morning again, Aaron.
And to you, Michael. You'll remember federal agents from Homeland Security investigations were hardly shy when they raided Sean Combs' opulent homes in Los Angeles and Miami, guns drawn. The jailed music mogul now argues those searches and other searches of his iCloud accounts, electronic devices, and New York City hotel room following his arrest were unconstitutional. His lawyers argue evidence obtained through those searches must be suppressed. Diddy's lawyers say the government presented a grossly distorted picture of reality when applying for the search warrants, omitting certain facts and including salacious details from an unnamed producer that were never credible. Combs has pleaded not guilty to racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and prostitution charges. The defense is also arguing here his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, was a willing participant in drug-fueled sex performances called freak-offs, not coerced, as prosecutors allege.
Diddy's defense seems to be gearing up toward his alleged criminal conduct wasn't criminal. It was his personal business of what was going on in his bedrooms or hotels or wherever the freak-offs occurred. So they're saying that count 3 wasn't transportation to engage in prostitution, but was just him using escorts, male escorts at that, to bring in as a third with his girlfriends. Whereas the government's theory of the case is Diddy used force, fraud, and coercion to make his alleged victims have sex against their will in his freak-offs that he recorded for his own pleasure. Now, Diddy pleaded not guilty to all his charges, hence why the case is going to trial.
What do you think about these allegations? Will 50 Cent's documentary finally expose the truth? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates on this shocking story. Stay tuned, this is just the beginning.